Yeah, I just looked, Lyle, and it looks like one of the maps has been misplaced and another one's all right, but I can't tell. So that's a good catch for staff to make sure we've got it right. Yeah, I just looked, Lyle, and it looks like one of the maps has been misplaced and another one's all right, but I can't tell. So that's a good catch for staff to make sure we've got it right. Yeah, I just looked, Lyle, and it looks like one of the maps has been misplaced and another one's all right, but I can't tell. So that's a good catch for staff to make sure we've got it right. Yeah, I just
So
looked,
Gordon,
Lyle,
you might want to mute
one of the maps
the phone for a
has been
moment.
misplaced and another one's all right, but I can't tell. So that's a good catch for staff to make sure we've got it right. Yeah,
The phone's muted.
Might want to mute
one of the maps
the phone for a
has been
moment.
misplaced and another one's all right, but I can't tell. So that's a good catch for staff to make sure we've got it right. Yeah,
The phone's muted.
Should we go?
I thought you were still working.
okay, I'm not saying another word.
Christine, I think we got the point.
We are there.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything. I just want
Yes, far.
No, we had a little feedback issue.
Yeah, we had a YouTube problem, an operator error, I believe, on my part. So I apologize to everybody. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
It could just be a full circle from our first meeting to our last.
Please no. All right. So we have everybody. The issue at hand that we have is you have all had a chance, I hope, to see the draft of the report. We received some comments and staff has made those. Those comments were all either grammatical or minor in changing a sentence or two. They were not substantive. Were there any other comments? I know Commissioner Thorne, you mentioned the graphic image of the night that you'd like to see that changed.
Right. And there was a graphic about.
I couldn't hear you very well.
So Lyle, what they were saying is one of the graphics on one of the chapter headings, they had used different symbols and they had used a knight, and we're just going to remove that off of there. We'll use a different symbol. It's a little more passive as opposed to one that could
It's
be.
the champion of the people symbol.
Graphic.
And so
Yeah.
I'm sure
So
we
we're
can
gonna
come
use
up with
something
something
a little
else.
A little less violent.
The fun graphic about living in the library. I think the library was left off of the description.
Yes, it was, and we've corrected that.
Okay. And then the spelling of the names.
Yes. Of the.
My name is spelled throne.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I read past that several times, so I apologize. But we will definitely correct that. And we will double check everybody's name spelling. So also, I apologize. I forgot to publicly welcome Commissioner Wild, who's joining us. As you all recall, was appointed on yesterday. So we really appreciate him joining us today. And just want to make sure he feels welcome to the commission. Are there other things that people notice that haven't made it to staff yet?
Rex, this is Matt Cannon. One thing that I had sent in an email, and I know there's so many that are going back and forth, but on page 6, it talks about in the first far left column, second paragraph, saying these measurements equal population and contiguity have some leeway. And I think that should read compactness.
Okay.
Because that's actually not legally accurate to suggest that the contiguity has any leeway. That's something that obviously has to be done. The other thing that maybe didn't get through was on page 8 in the blue portion of the text, the third paragraph down, it says Utah annotated code as opposed to Utah code annotated.
Okay.
Otherwise, those were the two that I'm still seeing in this current draft.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you'd sent that. Those should have been changed in that last draft, but we didn't get them done.
Okay, are there any others?
I have one very minor tweak to my name, actually. It's spelled Jeffrey instead of ERY. It's REY.
Well, I'm glad that Judge Thorne isn't the only one who had his name misspelled, so he doesn't feel alone.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And on page 16, there's a reference to statistical noise.
Uh-huh.
For people who were not privy to our conversations as we were talking about that, might help them to understand that was noise generated by the Census Bureau.
Yes. Okay.
Not something that we did.
Yes.
What page was that on, Commissioner Thorne?
16.
All right.
Okay. Any others?
I'm going to chime in one more time. On page 7, on the far right column, second to last paragraph, just the grammar there, communities where people live, period, which is something Utahns care about. I think putting a comma and a lowercase w would probably read better in my opinion. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're right.
Okay.
And Rex and Gordon, are we seeing all of the graphs and the charts that are going to be included in the final report? I guess specifically, I'm seeing the Princeton reports that have been added, which I think are great. Is there going to be anything additional?
There's some more there's more graphs, but those are being added right now as we speak. So Moon has sent over a bunch of graphs, and we're just formatting and put them on the page. Those some of those you've seen, some of the political data you haven't, but it's just the graph. So it's just numbers and charts. So we didn't think that and certainly we'll send that to everybody, but right now we just don't have it ready it's not in a format that's clean yet. It will be in about 45 minutes, I think, but we wanted you to feel comfortable with the text. The graphs are really just number generated, so they're not going to change at this point.
And will those graphs be included in the body of the paper or as part of an appendix? Is there an appendix, I guess?
There's
an
appendix.
appendix. So there'll be a few things added in the appendix, but they're just documents. They're not they're just hard information. I think we're going to include the full text of 28-20 statute and a few things like that just sit as they are. They're not you can look at them, but they're not editable per se because they're just the information.
Are we going to include the population deviations with the maps?
Yeah, so there was a chart that Matt made that had the chart and then kind of the bullet point criteria that's being added as having been submitted to the commission.
Okay, but I'm talking about the actual deviations on each map.
Oh yeah, so that's being added right now. So
okay,
each map. So right now, I think that's what Matt was talking about. So right now we have the picture, and the team right now is just adding all the city splits, the compaction number, and the deviation. So it'll be right next to it.
So a question on the deviation. Bill, are you wanting to see the deviation for each of the districts, or is the total deviation sufficient?
I'd like to see the detail. I think that would be helpful to the legislators.
We're putting a detail for every district. So the way it works is on all the maps, but the state house, they're right side by side. In the state house, we put it at the end because they're so long. And we're just putting them side by side in the columns on a second page.
And we talked also about city and county splits. Are those being included? Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So those will be all shown next to the map. So as you flip through the map, you can see it, and then the next map, you'll see all the. If we get something put together quickly, I'll have it sent out to you so you can kind of just see how that looks.
Okay, other comments? I'll entertain a motion to move forward with the report and to submit it to the legislature if one would.
I'm having a hard time hearing. I'm sorry.
Rex, can
Yeah, I'll speak up. I apologize. Said I'd entertain a motion from somebody to move forward with the report and submit it to the legislature.
I would make a motion to approve the draft report as the final report to be submitted to the legislature with the changes and additions that have been described in this discussion and the addition of the numerical charts that have also been described in this discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, this is Karen.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Is there any
Rex,
discussion?
this is Lyle. I
Yes.
really have to apologize because I didn't see this email until I got the text from Gordon a few minutes ago. I've got it up on my machine now and I can't read it. I mean, I can't read it. It's too complicated. I know there's 75 pages. I picked that one mistake out as I first got involved in just scanning it. I really would feel uncomfortable signing any document. If you want to show me as abstaining from voting, and I'll be glad, whatever you get, let me read it, and I'll be glad to sign it Monday when I'm there. But I'm not going to have time, nor do I feel comfortable knowing the scrutiny this report's going to have from every which side. I want to make sure that I've read it and I feel comfortable with the language rather than saying, well, I didn't see that. I didn't know that was there. I think it's kind of an embarrassment to sign something you haven't read, or, and especially as complicated or as controversial as I'm sure this is going to be.
I would just observe that waiting until Monday, I think, is problematic because we need to be able to submit and distribute the report on Monday. So is there any chance we can get any additional study done between now and tomorrow afternoon?
we'll have a final report done here in a few hours, and we'll certainly, as soon as that's done, sent to you. The issue for us is we need to email it to the legislature before midnight. So if maybe there's a motion you could make that any changes from Lyle are accepted and we can get that approved.
I would suggest you go ahead and pass the motion on, show me abstaining from voting, and then when we have the meeting Monday in front of when we meet before the legislature, I can review what we want. But I would like to have everything that I'm going to be signing my name on, because, for example, I prepared some documents for the thought process we went through when we did it. This is 75 pages, and it says the appendix. I don't know what the report from MGGG is. Could somebody tell me what that is?
Yeah, that's Moon and her associates.
Who's that?
Moon and her associates that have done the statistical analysis for us.
Okay. I would feel more comfortable, as I say, you can send it in without my signature. I don't think you need my vote to pass it if it goes through. I just would like then somebody send me the whole thing so I can see everything and go through it. I don't know if I'm going to have time tonight. Tomorrow's kind of a bad day with we got a granddaughter and her family moving back from Vancouver, and we're going to get together tomorrow, Sunday, to welcome back into Utah. So I'm going to be traveling back and forth. I know I have time Monday morning to review and everything to get there, and I think it's too late. And I think we can come in if we want to amend the report. I don't imagine it'll be anything great, but I'm nervous when I read it and see two of the congressional maps are switched, and that makes me nervous.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Is there a possibility of sending it to the legislature a draft with a final vote to occur Monday?
And this is Matt speaking. I think that there's a few options that the commission we want to consider, and I'll just kind of explain my understanding of what the law requires of you. And then you can determine, within that framework, what makes the most sense for everybody, because I do think Lyle raises a very good point with that. Again, we are very confident as your legal counsel that the official deadline for submission of this report is not until midnight on November 1st. Now, because the legislative committee wish to move forward with the public hearing that afternoon of November 1st, we wanted to accommodate and get our report out to the public and the maps to the public prior to that point. I think what's been great is the maps in substantive form with just very, very minor edits this week have been provided to the public, meaning that the public has had a good amount of time to review and analyze those maps leading up to the hearing on Monday. One option might be is if we get a full and final report from the staff later this evening, that the submission take place some point tomorrow, even as late as tomorrow night. That would still be well within the statutory deadline. I think that the commission would be fully complying with any deadlines with that. The downside, obviously, is it then narrows the time for the public or the committee to look at it prior to the meeting, although given that it's already the weekend anyways, maybe that's less of a concern.
Matt?
And so, yes.
Did you mean tomorrow night or Monday night?
Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. I still think it's important to provide it and publish this prior to the hearing on Monday, and I think it makes sense, if at all possible, to do it, the day before. And so that was just really the deadline is not until midnight on November 1st, but I think it creates problems and potentially creates problems for the legislator and the legislative committee that I don't think we want to create for them if we don't have a report and maps officially published and distributed prior to the meeting on Monday afternoon. So my thought is that, that it does not necessarily have to be done midnight tonight. I think the commission is within its rights and within the statutory timeline if it wanted to submit it by tomorrow evening to allow Lyle and all of you to have a final review of what will be, the final report. So those are just some thoughts from the legal standpoint that does perhaps create some options in that regard if the commission deems it important that you all have reviewed it and that all are on board prior to kind of any official submission.
If we have more time tomorrow, we already were planning on being here. That would, I'm sure we'd end up with a much cleaner version for everybody to look at. So I don't have any heartburn with that. And I think we may be able to get it out tonight and then do, if you have a chance to look at it, we can schedule up another meeting tomorrow at 6.
Gordon,
Well,
this is Lyle.
and here's,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead,
Please
Lyle.
send it to my lyle@hao-law.com.
Okay.
Because that'll come out on my iPad and my cell phone wherever I am. When you said the one I get it now, it's in my home in a fixed computer, and I don't look at it all the time. That's why I really
I apologize.
instruct
Yeah,
everybody to send it to lyle@hao-law.com.
we'll make sure we send it there.
Okay.
And just
I
to
think
speak
we'll do the same
on
with Christine.
kind of again what the requirements are, there is no formal requirement that there be any vote, official or otherwise, with respect to the report that's submitted. I think This has been a good exercise to try to get everybody, in a meeting setting to address that. But I guess another option under the statute, if we weren't inclined to have another formal meeting that would then require the 24-hour notice, is that if there wanted to be any action taken in today's meeting to move forward and distribute, with the notion that each commissioner will, by some point tomorrow, inform the chair as to her or his approval of the final report before submission. To me, that's completely appropriate under the statute, that there is really no kind of formal requirement for a vote. I think the point is, and more importantly, that the commissioners, feel comfortable with the final product before it is actually emailed to the Office of Legislative Research and General Counsel and submitted to the legislature. So I don't think another formal meeting is required or necessary for.
I think another meeting would be the best way to do it, so that if there are any concerns, everybody looks at it and signs off on it. Because if one commissioner suggests a change, the other ones aren't even going to know about it. So I think having a short, quick meeting tomorrow at 6 to get the 24-hour notice, or 6:30, depending on what time the notice goes out, plan on getting on for a few minutes. So making sure everybody's okay with what's in the report is a good way to do it.
Okay.
And that makes sense. And may I suggest, even, given that it's 5:45 now and the time for notice, if the idea is to email it tomorrow late, even a meeting at 8:00 may make sense, to allow you all to submit and exchange any proposed revisions, so that when we actually do get to the meeting, we're not hearing about the revisions for the first time, but hopefully we've seen what every other commissioner has suggested, and that we can be better prepared at that meeting to really understand, okay, this is it. This is the final product. And limit the chances of surprises, just knowing how these things always go. But I obviously defer to you, Chair, and the commission as to how you want to proceed. But I think Commissioner Thorne makes a really good point about wanting to make sure you've seen what any and all suggestions are from the fellow commissioners, that we give everyone an opportunity to look at the full and final report before officially signing off on that submission. And I know we all love getting back together. So if we want to do something late tomorrow night, I think that's completely appropriate under the statute.
So there are some technical logistics that we'll need to take care of in terms of being able to get things printed and things of that nature. But I am confident that Gordon can help us figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time, Rex, hearing you.
Oh, so he was just saying some technical issues about printing. We were looking doing some printing tomorrow, but it looks like we'll do all of our printing on Monday. So we'll work out some logistics with that this evening and tomorrow. So we want to make sure the commission feels like we got it right.
So what I'm hearing is a proposal that we hold another meeting tomorrow evening, and that we get a final set of the changes to folks tonight, and that we then circulate that, and everybody has a chance to review it, so that we can approve a final report and submit it tomorrow evening.
Right. And to build on Matt's suggestion, any changes that we suggest, I hope that we would copy each other so we can see what the suggestions coming in are, so it's not a surprise tomorrow for anybody.
Yes, I agree. Soraya?
Rex, so I don't know if you saw the comments, but our hope, if we want to print the report, we have to do it tomorrow.
We have to do it tomorrow morning before.
At the beginning of the day.
I'm having a hard time hearing Soraya.
Soraya, we saw that. We're going to print
You
Monday.
Did. So
it
then
won't be ready in time though for the committee.
Pardon?
We'll get it figured out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think
Right.
then, oh, yes.
Yeah, Rex, you have a motion still on the floor or on the table. I think proper is just to have Christine withdraw her motion at this time, and
Yeah.
then we'll make another motion.
Yeah, I was intending to do that and will now withdraw the motion.
Okay, thank you. The motion has been withdrawn. So do we have a motion to proceed as we've been discussing?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
specifically, what time tomorrow?
As soon as I get off, we'll start getting the agenda together, but I think it's going to be, like I said, 6:30 probably. Any problems with that?
Just need to know what time to make sure I'm available.
Okay, we'll send an agenda out and a link as soon as we get that put together.
So 6:30
Would you
unless
also
we,
send me a text so I can check and make sure
Yes.
I've got the link?
Yeah, we should have done that yesterday. That was a little bit of an oversight.
okay.
I really expected I'd receive it in the morning. I've been busy getting a garden closed down and all that, didn't think about it. But when I see it came in after I'd left for the game.
No, we will get you we'll as soon as we send it out, we'll do a text to everybody, let them know so they can start checking and tell us if they didn't get it or not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So with that, we have a motion and a second. I think on this vote, there's no need for a roll call vote. Matt, is that reasonable?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yes, that's reasonable.
Okay. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the motion carries. We'll meet tomorrow at 6:30 or as soon as we get the notice and appropriate 24-hour period. All right, we'll let staff go ahead and get back to work, and I'll head back upstairs to make sure we keep shepherding this process through.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
All right,
Hey,
thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
Gordon,
Happy Halloween.
Yes.
Yes, Logan.
hey, can you send me, just email me a list of everybody's phone number? There's a few
Yes.
questions here because I was just not involved in the process. I'd like to see what everybody's opinions are on some of this. So
Let me, I'll get that over to you right now.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
all right.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
okay, thank you all.